Hi everybody, welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown. We're going to take a look at every single board game campaign that is finishing up this week. It's another week, episode 191, and guess what? I missed a very important milestone last week. It was the milestone of 3,000 campaigns. 3,000 campaigns have been covered. If you have been watching since the beginning and you go over to this Crowdfunding Countdown master link list and you remember way back at episode 1, July 12th to the 19th, almost 4 years ago, well, we have covered 3,000 campaigns since then. I keep a little tally on the side, and our 3,000th campaign, fittingly, is one of the worst games out there in true crowdfunding fashion. It was so close to being Baby Party. It was so close to being Baby Party, but unfortunately that was not to be. I almost used that to justify backing Baby Party, but no, it was Payback, which is a bench. This horrid game, and I think that's a great way. That's a great way to set off the tone for this season of change, this next 1,000 campaigns. But yeah, if you've been watching since the beginning, you have looked into or considered, or at least saw me cover 3,000 campaigns. And if that's not worth a couple bucks a month, I don't know what is. I want to take this opportunity to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you. There's no new patron shout outs to happen this week, but my existing patrons, really, you're amazing. There's some of you who have also stuck with it for years now. And I'm truly grateful and really appreciative. So thank you to everybody who's able to donate. Again, if you aren't in a financial place to donate, that's completely fine. But if you can afford a couple bucks a month and you get some value out of this content and me sifting through the pages, well, great. That's what makes me do this right now instead of resting, which I really wish I was doing. I don't really make any money from ads. So, and in fact, I do my best to make sure YouTube doesn't interrupt you too much with ads. Even though they're desperate to force more ads upon you, I have to actively do more work to take them out and go back and make sure that YouTube hasn't inserted them. So if you appreciate that, and again, if you are able, and you can throw a couple bucks my way, that'd be super helpful. And then maybe one of these days, I'll only need to do 2 jobs instead of 3 or 4. But yeah, it is really meaningful. So that's why I'm saying it. But let's get into it. We're going to get into the week. We have about 20 campaigns or so to cover this week. And we are going to start with this one, Phantom Division. Phantom Division is a fully cooperative tactical combat game that supports solo play and features several mini-games. Let's see what this one's all about. Sure. Oh my goodness. I do like being on tour, but I'm going to have to pay for better internet. I'll tell you that for free. Or for a cost. Oh, come on. I need to do this tonight. Interesting. There's some little dexterity elements in there for diffusing time bombs. That seems fun. 3D battlefield with interactive randomly generated elements. Phantom Division includes several secret envelopes. Ooh, some loot packs as you're going through. Rulebook very close to the top of the page. I really like to see that. Way to go, Phantom Horizon. I also think they must have tried before. Oh no, Solarian Foundations of Empires, launching soon. Seems like that was like a placeholder, but they never launched it. All right, so new company. That's also important to know. Key features of gameplay before we get into the rulebook. Randomized layouts for endless variety. Realistic line of sight mechanics with peeking rules. There are rules for peeking, and there are rules that the cops won't let you peek. You can peek. You can take a little peek as long as you don't get caught. That's what the cops told me. Enemy AI pathing. Stealth and threat system. Track how aggressive enemies become, influenced by player actions like attacking or raising alarms. Players can be detected by noise levels and cameras. I like cameras. Of course I do. There's one right there. Shifting enemy behavior. Each mission begins with a tense insertion minigame. Thought that was the main game, though. Nail the landing or risk starting separated from your team. Every playthrough offers new layouts, new objectives, and randomized gear drops. That's fun. If you jump out of the helicopter too late, you're like, well, I'm on the other side of the map. Sorry, everybody. Let's try it. Let's keep moving. Plan every move, then pull it off. Combat in Phantom Division is all about real-time tactile skill. Every attack can damage enemies, blowing up cover, or trigger unexpected consequences. Your actions create consequences, make noise, enemies react, raise the threat level, and reinforcement arrives fast. Fail to defuse the bomb, game over, you blow up. Makes sense to me. You're going to be spawning enemies from the enemy bag, which is seeded before the game begins. We're the phantoms, right? You can perform 2 standard actions, a bunch of free actions. Free actions are give, that's it, and open unlock door. And close it, and open it, and close it, and open it, and close it, and open it, and close it. And you can do that all day. Nobody will know you're there. Just slam. Standard actions are attack, move, interact, use equipment. Yeah, that makes sense. These block line of sight. Security, cameras, drones, objective tokens. Objective tokens? Oh no, these do not block line of sight. That makes more sense. Security tournament, drones, etc. These do other figures, walls, pillars, closed doors. Yeah, this makes sense. B can't see C, but C can see B because you're leaning around a wall. Yeah, this is just like, it's like Catacombs. So declare the weapon being used. Melee weapons allow you to move 1 space as part of the attack action, and then ranged attack allow you to flick 1 or more projectiles. So it's all like dexterity based. Cool. Yeah, melee attacks always hit though, so you don't have to flick yourself into it. The combat dice may be used as an alternative to resolve combat by flicking. So if you don't want to do the flicking action, you can just roll some dice. And then that's more of a standard roll a bunch of dice equal to what's on your number and see what happens. But if you wanted the flicking aspect, it's built in a way that the flicking might make sense. And that also might make the 3D terrain or the 3D doors to make a little bit more sense as well. Sure. Oh, that's so funny. You can slow time as well, and you can flick a disc for as long as this sand timer is running or until you hit the number of times that your weapon can hit things. That's very funny. And that's how you can curve the bullets. So you don't even have to, you can just flick it ahead and then flick it into somebody. Oh, that's very funny. That's cool. Yeah, this seems neat. A fun little unique take on a scenario breaking and entering dungeon crawler style game. How much are you? $89 for the core pledge, which is 123 Canadian, or the all-in pledge includes the secret envelopes plus 1 more. You get the spaceport expansion, the system soundbar nightclub expansion, and an exclusive storage box. Yeah, fun enough. I mean, pretty expensive. We're also going to see another version of Catacombs in this week as well, if you're looking for a flicking game. $150, and then that's Canadian, and then shipping to Canada is like an additional $20, so that's like $180 to get to my door if you're going for that all-in pledge. If you're just going for the core pledge, again, $150. Too expensive. I don't like paying over $100 for a board game unless it's really special. You know, I might end up paying later on because I might celebrate the 3,000 campaigns by getting something this week. Who knows? But I do know that that finishes Wednesday, June 25th at 6 p.m. Moving along, over to the Steffenfeld City Collection, Manila and Beijing. The Steffenfeld City Collection continues with Manila and Beijing, number 11 and number 12. The only thing keeping Queen Games in business, it's this Steffenfeld City Collection. I thought I saw a post on Facebook the other day that said the games arrived destroyed and Queen Games just never responded to their backers concerned, and then they came in with another campaign, the City Collection. They said, listen, we'll be replacing any boxes that get damaged in this one, and then the person backed that one, and then more boxes got damaged and they didn't replace them or something along those lines, or they were just hoping to use that to replace their additional ones, and then there was some more drama. Somebody was very upset about Queen Games, and I remembered, yeah, they don't really treat their backers very well, do they? These are 2 new entries, so Manila and Beijing don't exist, but you can get them if you're interested. Let's take a look at both of them. I doubt that they will have a rulebook here, so we can probably just look at the base game to see what the mechanics are that Steffenfeld is putting out. Obviously, these are, again, going to be too expensive for me to realistically consider personally, but again, well, you never know. The mechanics might really thrill me. I might get excited, so you never know. Kind of know. But you never know. Manila is a strategy game by Steffenfeld for 2 to 4 players aged 14 and up, where the players explore the Philippine Islands and landscape, cultivate fields, establish trading posts and factories, and seek influence in Manila, all while preparing for typhoons. This Manila, we may never know. As always, they have coins that they include as metal coins so that they can justify jacking up the price. Here's the flow of the game. The game takes place over 3 rounds. Each round consists of 7 turns per player. All right, so after the 3rd round, there's an additional bonus round. Ooh la la. So it's probably just to finish up anything that you haven't finished. Again, working with this cube tower. Steffenfeld did it with Marrakesh as well. At the beginning of each turn, the cubes from the current round space are thrown into the cube tower. The cubes from the side with more cubes are placed on the action circle, and the remaining ones are moved to the next round space. Okay, so things could be punted forward. The colors of the cubes indicate the actions that are allowed, and the highest number of cubes of the same color determines the action points available for all colors. Oh, for all colors. I thought it was going to be Grand Austria Hotel style, but it's not. So if there's 7 green and 2 blue, etc., it's just 7 are the action points available for all colors, it seems. Okay, cool. Yeah, then starting with the first player, players each perform one of the available actions. Cubes are not removed, allowing players to perform the same actions with the same number of action points. And you're going to do that 7 times. So here's what you can do. You can move your ship to establish trading posts. You can cultivate fields in a polyomino style. Place fields to gain points, collect plants, covering the last empty space on an island triggers an immediate island scoring. Presumably, however much you control, you'll get points for that. Build factories, potentially gaining coins, and there's another scoring. Sandbags to protect yourselves from bad events. Trade, visit Manila to get tiles to upgrade yourself. Okay, very Lorenzo, there's going to be a bad thing in which you have to collect resources for, or else you take that bad thing to the face, then you do the intermediate scoring of your factories. Okay, so you're going out, you're establishing land plots with this. I think this likely will be quite fun for sure, but not something that I want to spend $150 for right now, you know? Games are getting so expensive. They really, really are. And crowdfunding has slowly become not a very good deal, only in the rarest occasions. Yeah, so Manila does seem interesting mechanically, but not for that price. And then Beijing. What have we got for Beijing? Looks like you're building your own tableau. It's a strategy game where you aim to maximize the prosperity and prestige of their province. They must call upon diverse people to help them manage their province and withstand various unfortunate events. This is the unfortunate events era. Player who best manages their province and endures these challenging times will earn the most honor and victory points. All right, the game consists of exactly 12 rounds, symbolizing the 12 months in a year. First phase, the action. The 7 action tiles are shuffled and divided face down into as many groups as there are players, then turned face up. You choose a group, you perform 1 action from it. If a player chooses a group already taken by another player, they have to pay $3 or 3 won. Get taxes, build new houses, harvest, so gain rice tokens, gain fireworks tokens, move your marker on the person track, sure. Move your scoring marker forward on the scoring. Well, just do that one. You win. Pay 2 won for a small privilege. Okay, so that's your action phase. Everybody gets to do an action. And then we're going to do 7 actions, right? That's what they said? No, the 7 action tiles, you're just going to do 1 action. Then you play 1 person card from your hand. You take the matching person card from the board. If place it on your streets. If all streets are full, you can place existing stuff. Sure, then we have a monthly event, and then you score. Much less interested in Beijing than I am Manila. Definitely seems uninteresting from the breakdown that they gave us. But again, shipping for all of these is going to be pretty expensive. $24 to get to the US, $28 to get to Canada, $12 to get to the EU. Yeah, if you're interested in that, it finishes Wednesday, June 25th at 6:59 p.m. I'm strangely surprised by Manila. I feel like Manila is going to be a good one. That's going to be people are going to enjoy that one. Beijing seems just fine. All right, we're moving over to Assyria, the 2nd edition. The 2nd edition of Assyria. Did I cover the first one? Oh, I also need to get out the $1 pre-pledge. I got to double check that nothing bad's going on there. Not that Assyria would ever use the $1 pre-pledge. If I am so confident, Garfield Games never needs to resort to those tactics. In fact, they actively always say at the very top of their campaign page, like right here, why back now? Purchase wherever. We appreciate it. They're producing it in Vietnam instead of China for tariff considerations. And it is a potential, a reasonable push that they're like, listen, we might have to increase it based upon tariffs, so probably best to get it now. A reasonable time to get it now if you're a big fan of Shem Phillips and all of those sort of combo games that they like to do. Right, I was checking a number of things. Yeah, I don't think I looked at it. Oh, and also, of course, the payback had a friggin' $1 pre-pledge as well. What a surprise. It's just a horrible, horrible game. Nice. Doesn't look like there's any $1 pre-pledges this week, which is great. Great. Bids kind of like Cyclades. I like that. Except you're bidding victory points instead of coins. I really like Garfield Games campaigns because their videos are some of the only ones where I'll watch 5 minutes because I know it's going to give me a really comprehensive breakdown of what the game is. This one did the same. Again, the breakdown sort of is that you're trying to put out these additional pieces onto the board to make the actions that you might be taking a little bit better, claiming spots on the land, which will allow you to gain points, and which you will also have to feed for. You're going to have this bidding mechanism over on the side here where you're bidding on food cards and favor cards, so different things to boost up your engine. And it's 46 US, 80 New Zealand, $66 Canadian. And then you have to pay 30 New Zealand dollars, 18 US dollars shipping. I never think that Garphill Games should be a Kickstarter back just from a value standpoint. However, from a mechanic standpoint, it seems fine. It doesn't really yank me in that much. Even delving into the rule book a little bit more, I don't think I'm going to find something to excite me when that video didn't, because I find that their videos are very comprehensive, right? In terms of describing the flow of the game. The flow of the game is really based around expanding your network of huts, paying for those huts, and then gaining points from those huts. This is the most interesting part of it for me, that idea of upgrading your player board and that things get cheaper as you go throughout the game. But even still, I don't find myself very overwhelmed. I think I'm just moderately whelmed for this one, and you can see that it's not really raised that much money, and I think the reason is because the gameplay doesn't seem as combo-tastic as maybe all of their other ones do. But if you're interested, you can check it out. That finishes Thursday, June 26th at 12 a.m. Moving along to this one, we have Baron von Zoms' Dice of the Undead, the easy, fast, exciting dice puzzle fun, the second edition of Baron von Zoms' Dice of the Undead, exclusively on Kickstarter. This was back in the day. When did we cover this? Was it really that 2 years ago? I remember this one. Oh, it's my favorite thumbnail with little Artie. Right. I've just reminded myself what Chris of the Past thought, and it's a fairly brainless game. You're going to roll the dice. You're going to try to make pairs. In case you don't remember from 2 years ago, well, that's why we have Chris of the Past, isn't it? Make pairs, and then you're going to draw a bunch of zany cards to really make it wild and crazy, because something might happen. What's going to happen? Who knows? There's crazy twists and turns. Like this one. Swap your player board with the board of any other player. Don't swap your brains. There you go. You just lose all of your progression. You just have to swap everything. Yeah. This isn't one that I think anybody who's very interested in board gaming will, or in games that provide a lot of choice, will be interested in. I'm certainly not interested in it, and especially not for 49 euros, 78 Canadian, plus shipping for $100 for this very simple dice game of like roll, see what happens, and have some weird events. I would say a hard pass on this one, but if you're interested, that finishes Thursday, June 26th at 2:59 a.m. I remembered it because of the art, though. The art style and the visual aspects of it stuck in my memory from 2 years ago. Would you just cool it? Because we now have a conflict role-playing game for brave couples. Cool it, it's a role-playing game for couples to master conflict, deepen trust, and spark lasting growth. I was interested to see what this is, if it has any merit. Oh my gosh, if you're arguing over bills and envelopes, what? Excuse me, I want this blanket. We're a couple, and I'm going to steal the blanket instead of sitting with you and the blanket. This guy took a bunch of stuff. This doesn't seem like a healthy relationship. I mean, I'm all for good communication. That's important. But is this going to promote it? I mean, that guy's been laughing the whole time, though. That's what I don't know, is that I don't know if it's really going to help. But she's laughing now, and she certainly wasn't laughing when he was taking that creamer on her, so watch out. Yeah, it's only $24.99 to save your relationship. It feels like you should invest in that. Why would you ever feel justified yelling at your partner? I feel justified yelling at you on the internet, but we're not. Yeah, how did you not know to share a blanket? I don't buy this, what they're selling. I don't buy it. What's a scenario? What's in the box? That's not what's in the box. It's just on the tray table. This is just like, hey, talk about your spending habits, which, to be fair, a good one to lead with for all of you board gaming couples out there. You gotta talk about your spending habits with your partner, or even yourself, future self, okay? Make a video to your future self and say, hey, I spent all our retirement on these board games. And your future self will say, honestly, I'm not upset about it. We don't have anyone where to play them. That's the problem. Sure. I mean, these are just prompts that you could probably find on a website. Why is it a game? I don't know, but 83 couples are going to save their relationship, so that's nice. We're going to move on to Tomb Raider, Crypt of the Chronos, an epic Tomb Raider adventure across an action-packed board game. Discover an ancient series as Lara Croft fights to save time itself by Iconic Studios. What have they done? Oh, they did the Saw one. Okay. I imagine they're just going to try to capitalize off of an IP and not have a ton of gameplay, but we're going to see. Maybe there's a replica, real life Lara Croft archaeological dig tool. Yeah, this is for sure an IP cash grab, isn't it? 20 to 180 minutes. That's funny. Okay, this how to play section's not going to tell me anything. Okay, 2 different ways to play. There's an adventure book, so structured adventure split into 20 to 60 minute missions, or the island campaign, a randomized complete campaign lasting around 3 hours. Okay. You do all your Lara stuff, then the enemies move and attack, then there's an event. Once all the objectives are met, you reach the exit. It's all about going and activating doors, stepping on switches, flipping those switches to open different sections of the map. Okay, so you have 6 dice. You're choosing how many dice to assign to different actions. Once you use all of your dice, then it proceeds to the enemy phase. So you can take a bunch more actions, but you may have a lower chance of it succeeding because you're rolling these dice to see if there are stat checks, right? Success, double success, sacrifice. What's combat like? You're going to be crafting to get some ammo. This isn't as bad as I was expecting it to be honest. You have to roll successes equal to their health. A one-time thing, like Zombicide, cumulatively collecting damage. You can also have some weapons that can help you out. Better if you're not seen. And then a random event phase. Yeah, it seems alright. I guess if you're a fan of Tomb Raider and you wanted to play around in a game that had that sandbox, sure. And there's an element where you can do multiple scenarios. You're going on, you have a little map here, this island campaign, but it just gives you a timer as you go through multiple scenarios that are random. I don't know, nothing about it really jumped out to me. The idea of manipulating the board with opening and closing doors that your enemies can't get by might be appealing, but that's a bit of a stretch for me. It is $83 Canadian, and then plus shipping in Canada is an additional $24, so it's like $120 for this game. For me, probably be about $100 for you. That finishes Thursday, June 26th at 10:58 a.m. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. I'm excited about this. There was one recently that was a similar vibing on the same wavelength game that I didn't expect much from, and I thought it looked neat, so maybe this will be interested as well. If you like Codenames, Wavelength, or The Mind, you'll love Match My Logic. That's the pitch. Anyway, let's see if it's reality. Okay, I'm not that excited about this. I could be with some tweaks, but I don't think those tweaks are going to happen. Essentially, you're going to draw 3 logic things, so time of day, memorable, sound, and then you have to rank the things, the 5 things that have come out. If you want a game that's more interesting, that's just about ranking things and having people guess your rankings, you should play the game Oh Really. This one basically says, oh, we're going to do Oh Really, but whoever's deciding on the order just picks one of 3 categories randomly, and if you don't pick that category, sucks to be you. It's pitched as being a way to really connect with somebody, but I think it's just poor design, personally. So this is $30. I would not get it or consider it. There's a game called Oh Really, which is up your style and is much better. That finishes Thursday, June 26th. And you don't have to worry about it, because Oh Really exists. Moving along, we got Rookling Heroes, 2-player battling card game. Build your squad of 3 Rooklings, then duel in this card-like game. Sorry, then what? It's time to duel!
So it's just like Duel Monsters.
Yeah. In this card-like game where your special attacks affect the battlefield. Sure. 3v3 Rookling action. Oh my god, just tell me how to play the game. Yeah, it's not a TCG yet, because we don't have enough cards, but it will be an ECG, an expandable card game. You have 12 different characters. The conceit here, the cool idea, is when you do something to the terrain, it sticks around. So you do an ice attack, it's now going to be slippery on the field, right? You dig a tunnel, your opponent can also use that tunnel. So you're drawing from a communal deck, they're all going to have different energy, you're going to hope to use that energy to activate different abilities, which is going to shuffle in terrain cards, which your opponent might draw, etc., etc. How much are you? £15, $28 Canadian. That feels reasonable, I suppose. UK shipping is $6.50. Europe shipping is $14.50. US is $18.75, and the rest of the world is $16.50. I love seeing the US being the highest shipping. Well, we know that's because there are tariffs involved. It would be $60 to get this to my door, which is not something anyone should ever consider. It seems fine. I don't mind that you're drawing energy from a communal deck. Think there's going to be some inherent randomness that you won't be able to activate certain abilities, but that's also okay. You don't always have to be able to activate things. Yeah, I don't know, it's fine. We're going to move on. That's finished this Thursday, June 26th at 12 p.m. Next up, we have Heroes of the Sanctum, last seen in episode 134 of Crowdfunding Countdown. Oh, right. All right, I remember you. You can go back and talk to Chris of the past because he did a decent job explaining it. Essentially, there's going to be these 4 heroes, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're protecting the inner sanctum, and they're defeating these monsters that are trying to move in this tower defense style game. You have a limited amount of actions. Your actions are listed down here with these action chips that you're going to have to put forward as you scout out a way out of this place to get out in time. It definitely feels like a solo game. It says 1 to 4 players, but I agree with Chris of the past where, you can control 1/4 of this, or you can just play the solo game. I think it is a solo game. I wouldn't be interested in playing this with anybody else. It's £27, $50, and then they're giving you Season 2 as well if you are interested in this game. Just giving you more heroes, more villains, more things to attack. Shipping costs, again, are expensive. US $14, Canada $19. So again, it'd be, $60 or $70 for this game. I'm less interested in it than I was in a previous video, Chris was nicer than I am, and I'm not going to stand for that. So I'm just going to say it's fine, and that finishes Thursday, June 26th at 1 p.m. Okay, we're moving along to Agricola. I'm excited to look at Agricola. If you missed it, I did a 5 reasons you shouldn't back Agricola, talking about my experiences with the game, to which most people were fairly receptive to it. I played this game a bunch. I haven't played it 500 times, and apparently that means I'm not allowed to say anything, but I think I'm going to continue to say things because, well, as that comment said, I am smarter than them. So we're going to keep on going. I'm really excited to check this out, though, because the one thing that I want to check out now are the stretch goals. There was a new expansion that came out. Sure, there's a bunch of card packs, who cares? But there was the cider. Yeah, who cares about unique art and shape for each player board? No, who cares? But there was a cider expansion. Yeah, the irrigation part 3, fruits, trees, and cider, new tactical opportunities. It was unlocked on day 5 of the campaign, which is later than the time it took to hit 1 million. Llamas and changelings. There's a mini pack, tokens, cards, and llama. I'm a bit disappointed it doesn't tell you what the llamas do, but they're adding in figures to represent the fantasy folk who might be in your farm. You might have birthed a troll. That's kind of funny. There's a new solo mode, but solo mode was always kind of just beat your score. All right, here's the irrigation model. So an additional spot where you can add in worker placement spots. That makes sense. You can grow fruit trees to harvest fruits to brew cider. Cider lets you perform actions on already occupied spaces. That is pretty key. I don't know if you wanted to waste your time building up to that when you can get it later on, but that would be mostly key when you're expanding your family. Because if somebody gets ahead on the family growth action, like that's one that people really fight for and you try to get ahead on. Because when you get it, that tempo is severely increased. I do like the potential that your tree is going to grow. It's going to grow more and more, and you can chop it down for wood. That's interesting. Again, it's not like game breaking though. I'm interested in this because I played a bunch of Agricola, right? And I think, okay, well, we'll throw a different resource in there and see how that shakes up the game. And I understand that's what a lot of this stuff is. It's meant to be for people who have played it a bunch and want to try something new. I imagine I would try it and think, yeah, sure, fine. I don't know if it would improve my feeling of Agricola. And it just feels like the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze. I think it's a trap. You're investing workers, you're wasting time, you're wasting at least 1 turn for the opportunity to grow something that later in the game you might want to take the same action as somebody. And a lot of the actions you want to take because the resources have built up. So when somebody goes there, they've taken all the resources anyway. So it doesn't really, the only one I could think of would be for, I guess, expanding your family and expanding your house too, some of the later stage ones, and being able to save that and keep it in your back pocket as your final action of the round to take the thing that you would have wanted to take first. That might be beneficial. I could see the benefits here, but I don't think it is enough to get me to upgrade my pack. This doesn't change my own mind of what I already have and why paying $150 for the more $200 for the wooden edition, because I would want a wooden edition to upgrade an existing thing, I'm not quite interested. I could probably sell the one that I have for 50, let's say 50 Canadian, right? So this is essentially costing me 150, but still I'm not really that interested. I like the version that I have for the amount of time that I play Agricola. I think I'm fine. I don't need all this extra content because I haven't even played all the content that I have. Shipping is also really expensive, €33, 30 to the US. But if you are getting this, if you've played Agricola now and you think that it's going to be a really good game, as much as it pains me, I mean, it is a $50 bump. That's tough. It really is $50. Like, it's another full game that you can buy if you just don't deal with the wooden meeples. I understand the wooden edition being the potential, though. And there's a reason why this has been pledged 332 times, and that's been pledged 8,540 times. I think you got to go for the wooden edition. Cheapy McGee even thinks that the wooden edition is going to be better for your farm building. It's just going to be more immersive. This is one of those times where I have had the little wooden animals, and I like having them in my little pens, and that does actually have an enjoyment factor or is relevant to the discussion. So if you're interested in jumping on this, that finishes on the 26th at 3 p.m. We're going to keep on moving to this one, Trouble on the Tempus, Master Time to Navigate Disaster, a co-op time-traveling disaster management game aboard a spaceship where your knowledge of the future might just save you in the past. I'm of two minds on this. I like the paradox cards. I like that there still are some stakes. I think it's an interesting concept. The concept is that you're going to play the game once and you're going to lose, and then you're going to play the exact same game and you're going to lose. And then you're going to play the exact same game with all of the events stacked in the same order. And then you're going to lose. And then people are going to die and you're going to time travel back. And then you're going to remember that, oh no, the first card of that deck causes fire to pop up in the engineering bay. So why doesn't somebody go preemptively to the engineering bay to ready a fire extinguisher, and then I'll go and set off that thing. So that as soon as the fire pops up, you can deal with it in the way. And so you're trying to navigate and figure out the way to deal with these events as the random events pop up, which through the pitch sounds interesting. It also sounds like it could be completely horrible. You know, I'm really not sure which way this game is going to go, because a lot of the cards, it seems, are just like, hey, these disasters pop up. Like, these things are happening around the ship. Manage these, manage these, manage these. And it becomes just an exercise in memory of these things are going to happen, these things are going to happen, which on the one hand could make you feel really cool, and on the other hand could just be a tedious exercise. I think if you're looking for a time travel game, Time Stories also kind of puts itself forward as this learning as you go. You remember things, you uncover some things, you can't uncover everything. But yeah, I'm interested in this. It's just that it's €45, 45 pounds, which is $83 Canadian, so it's going to be, again, $100 for this or more. You have to fix the hyperdrive. I like that there are these paradox cards so that you can't just loop time forever. There at least is a cycle there, but I just don't know what the disasters are. I guess they have to be fairly simple if you want to play it in this way, right? How to play, no rule book for me, unfortunately. Oh yeah, there we go. Rule book is there. Still being worked on. My issue with this is that the first time you deal with the initial stages of learning what's out there, that might be interesting. But when you know you're going to have to time travel, I guess you want to extend it as long as possible. But even still, it kind of becomes an exercise in futility, because you know you're just going to time travel for the next one. Will that first section of the game really be fun? I don't know. Shipping estimates are £6 to the UK, 16 or 18 to the US and Canada, 23 and 28 to Australia, New Zealand, rest of the world 38, so it'll double it. Yeah, but over $100 to get this game, I don't think it's worth it, but I like the concept. It's not a horrible fail for me. I just would go back in time and change just a couple things. So if you're interested in that, it finishes Thursday, June 26th at 4 p.m. Alrighty, next up, we've got Catacombs Alpha, not raised really anything at all. This is a starter set for Catacombs, the 3rd edition with new content. So probably just a smaller base set with some different villains. Let's see. You've got your standard heroes, the Harbinger. Yeah, and another fun set. Catacombs is fun. Catacombs is a game that I haven't played in a very long time, though. I made a really great insert for it that I was super proud of to help it get to the table, and it still doesn't get to the table that much. But I think that's because I don't really play a lot of of dexterity games, and it's a bit overlong for dexterity games because you have to go through, 5 or 6 different missions. Unless you're really in the habit of setting it up quickly, can sometimes drag. Is a bit of a table hog too. But I like the flow of it. I think it's a really fun dungeon crawler. You pick your character, they have different abilities. You can buy items as you go through the dungeon. Every person who you kill is going to give you money, and then you can use that money to heal yourself, get items, etc. This is a weird thing. Elsra is a trusted creator on Kickstarter. For this campaign, I'm working with Kickstarter to help them test a new back-end feature of their platform. This was a feature I personally encouraged them to include on a number of occasions. By supporting this campaign, you're helping bring this important new feature one step closer to reality for creators. We can't reveal anything further, but we really appreciate your help for this important test. That seems just dumb. Like, why not reveal what it is? What is this new feature? Are they just pushing it to more audiences? Clearly not, because it's not raising any money. So it's probably a bad feature. What a weird thing. Oh, awesome. So I sent my contact at Madagot a message saying, hey, do I need to late pledge for the Inish big box, or is there a way maybe you want some review content on it? Because I think I want it. I've been thinking about it for a bit. It's hard to justify because I have a bunch of dudes on a map games, and I don't even get games like, like this, like Catacombs of the Table that I would like to. I think Catacombs is so unique. It's just not one that I end up playing that much. Maybe because of the dexterity element. It also, if you have a difference in skill ceiling of somebody who's really good at dexterity and somebody who's not good at dexterity, then you can kind of wreck people, So you want to have a balanced skill set. But here are the new heroes: Hunter, Rakshasa, Battle Robot, Harbinger, and Quirling. Sure. You can get some familiars out as well. What are these new people? Are they going to show me the rulebook? Let's see if that says it in the rulebook. I'm curious as to what the new characters do. Anyway, I like base Catacombs. I think it's good. And this is a bit cheaper, I think. $59, 81 Canadian. Maybe around the same. You can probably get that in stores. Oh, cool. You can spend money. This Rakshasa, you have a familiar. You can also spend money to have better attacks. That's kind of neat. And it looks like there are some fun different hits. You're going to be stunned and frozen, etc. Whereas in the base one, I think they were lacking on a lot of the keywords. This looks like they're incorporating maybe a few more. So that's nice. Of the special abilities that happen to you. Oh, cool. I like that. You start in a corner and you work your way to the lair. Ooh, I should try that next time. What a great idea. Rather than you need to build it out yourself. You know that there are shops here, but you're going to have to backtrack to get another shop if you wanted to continue to explore. I like that. Then again, yeah, I think that's pretty good. Then again, your game might be hours and hours if your heroes just keep on wandering around. Anyway, the core pledge is $59, which is 81 Canadian, and then shipping is an additional $20 US, so it puts it at about $100. I think it's probably cheaper to get some Catacomb stuff in retail. It's nice it has this little systems map for everybody. Any of the Catacomb stuff is good, It's all kind of the same. I don't think you need a million boxes of it, but definitely fun to try. If you like dexterity games, if you like crokinole, and you like dungeon crawlers, for sure, you owe it to yourself to check out, because it is good. That finishes Thursday, June 26th at 6 p.m. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going to this one. Excalibur, a light-hearted game of tomfoolery, scumbaggery, and hilarious backstabbery for 2 to 8 players. Oh, okay, great. This is Roxley. I was like, this is done so well. I was worried it might be a $1 pre-pledge, but it hasn't. It's just, I know Roxley makes great stuff, so I'm instantly excited when I see a Roxley title. Biodegradable wood components, cool. Okay, that didn't really tell me anything about the game, so I hope I can get, other than there's, some tomfoolery, some bluffing, sure. The Deluxe Edition is going to be $40, 55 Canadian. That's 95% biodegradable. It's a 20-minute game. Each player gets 4 chips to start the game. The rest of the chips are spread face down on the table. Every round, a player select a chip, reveal choices that resolve each chip's power clockwise. Use your chip's power to find Excalibur, so that lets you swap and steal and grab chips. All right, so you're trying to use all these different abilities. Zany abilities of find the sword. And then I imagine you draw back up to 4. Everybody's going for this collector's edition for the 3D molded chips. Nobody cares about biodegradable. What a bummer. People want their little metal swords. You didn't get it from Chip Theory. Me neither. but maybe Roxley will hook you up. So it's all about passing these swords, right? So each sword is held out face down, steal one, protect one chip, command a player to give you a sword. If they don't have a sword, then they obviously can't give you any. All swords are given to you. Bury all swords in one region, then mix it up. Kind of feels like Mind Bug if everybody's playing Mind Bug and like, okay, now I get swords, you get swords, etc. I wonder the order of operations for this stuff. 46 commoner chips. Draw 2, trash 1. Draw 2 if you draw a sword, shout, huzzah! These are the rules, all on one page. Great. Yeah, just play around with these different abilities. Sure, I think it seems fun enough. I think the comparisons to Love Letter feel apt in terms of it's going to be quick, people are going to be knocked out, swords are going to be passed around, you're going to shuffle things around. It's like a big game of Old Maid, but you want the Old Maid. And I guess there is some threat because you are getting the cursed sword, so you're the ultimate loser if you keep the cursed sword, where then like for things like the Green Knight, all swords are given to you, you got the cursed sword and the real sword, you want somebody to steal something from you, then you go, haha, you stole the cursed sword from me, I have the real sword, or vice versa. There's potential here. I mean, not for what's going to be $55 Canadian and then shipping $9 to China, 9 to 21 for the US because it's tariffs, 15 to Canada, so yeah, like $85 for me to get this very lightweight game. I'd be interested in trying it. It really doesn't thrill me that much. I don't quite see why everybody's been jumping on it personally. I think it seems like it's a very just fine game, but I guess people are resonating with it. So there you go. If you're interested, that finishes Friday, June 27th at 5 p.m. We're going to keep moving to this one, the Sunnygeeks 2.0 modular table, which has now raised over €1 million. This is the Sunnygeeks 2.0. It's back and better than ever, now in GameFound with up to 40% off and the option to pay in 10 interest-free installments. Enjoy premium design, new features, unbeatable value for serious gamers. Cool. I mean, there's a bunch of different tables, but what I have found is that if you're getting a board gaming table, crowdfunding campaigns are a pretty decent place to exist in, especially if you've researched the table beforehand. So I wanted to point this out because you can get up to 40% off with this. It's still a very expensive. One of the cheapest ones has to go to the Box King tables, but they aren't all fully wood. I think I was supposed to get one sent to me here in Nova Scotia. I don't know if that's still happening. It might have gotten lost in transit because I was supposed to do a little section for an R&R show, and then I was like going to be very excited because I was going to have a board game table for the remainder of the summer to kind of try it out and try out what it's like living with one. But yeah, if you're interested, I just wanted to point this out. Rathskellers is a very well-known company, and a lot of people have jumped on this one. There's also another one that we're going to cover later on in the episode. We're going to move on to this one, Role Player Adventures Silver Threads of Fate, a new time-bending storybook for Role Player Adventures. I've yet to play Role Player Adventures, but we're going to see what this adds to the mix. I've heard back and forth about Role Player Adventures, honestly. So yeah, just more an expansion for Role Player Adventures. It gives an additional storybook as you go through. Use an existing adventure map and explore familiar locations during a critical moment in the history of Nalos. I don't know, Role Player Adventures didn't make our list for best campaign games. I think people got tired of it. I know some people didn't finish it. I haven't heard that great feedback about Role Player Adventures recently. I don't know how much it is held up against other newer hotness stuff, but I do love that there's a digital version that 93 backers have gotten. It's only $15. I think that's great. Or a physical one for $25 as an expansion for your Role Player Adventures. Is pretty good considering an all-in is $300, which you shouldn't spend your money on that just out of the blue. But some of you will, because some of you have no sense. That finishes Friday, June 27th at 7 p.m. We're going to move along to this one, which is called Darkleaf Gambit. Reignite your chessboard's magic. Transform your most beloved chessboard into the mythical forest of Haggadorn in this two-player game of Risk and Cunning. You need a chessboard already, but if you do, well, then you can play this game. I am very excited about this. I really like when games do this. The idea of Nightmare Chess was something that I thought was really cool. Nightmare Chess basically gives asymmetric powers to your pieces, and that's exactly what Darkleaf Gambit is going to do as well, or is at least putting themselves forward to do with this dice-driven strategy game. Oh, cool. I like that it has an asymmetric setup, too. One of the 6 clans, and you have the setup, the 6th clan right here, the Erd. That's already exciting to me. Full digital version of the game is on Tabletopia for free. There's a 20-page rulebook. Yeah. We'll take a little peek at it. But I think it's really neat. You're going to be rolling a dice. That's going to determine something of your power. And then you're also getting these different power core chips that they're selling. $59 for this game, though, unfortunately. That's a lot. I wish there was a print and play. I wish there was a asymmetric way to approach these. Each clan's path to victory is also different. Okay, cool. So they've just taken the chessboard, really, and the pieces that you kind of know, and really just shifted most of them. Yeah, really intrigued, though, by this one. I wish it was cheaper, but really, really intrigued. That finishes, how much is the shipping to Canada? $22, right? So it's around $100, $105. I'm not interested enough in it for that, but I love when people take games and reinvigorate them, especially these classic games, something like chess that is held up to such a high esteem, I feel. Yeah, I always get pretty excited about that. So if you're interested, that finishes Friday, June 27th at 8 p.m. Moving along to Endeavor Deep Sea Uncharted Waters. Discover oceans of exciting new content as you explore Uncharted Waters, our first expansion for Endeavor Deep Sea. Now, this is a tough one because I really want to back this. Like, I think I just want my own copy, and I haven't gotten a copy yet because my neighbor and not friend, Yuval, has a copy of Endeavor Deep Sea, and I was like, well, I can always just play with him. I haven't yet, though. I haven't played this since the prototype, and I really want a copy because I wanted to put this on like my top 100 games that are upcoming, and I didn't because I didn't have a copy and I hadn't played it recent, which is absurd because I've played this more than other games that I'm going to put on there. But so I don't know. I just want a copy. I might buy a copy. I might just buy a copy for myself. But then I was like, well, I can get it in the stores. I can get it in retail. Burnt Island has a location. Well, they don't have a location, but Burnt Island is based out of Toronto. Oh, do they have a website that I could order it from? Maybe that's the ticket. Well, pre-order box damage. How to Save a World, 20 US. Whoa, okay, what are we looking at here? Do I wait for some box damage? I mean, I'm sure they would give me a review copy if I asked. I've got a pretty good relationship with them after my coverage for How to Save the World. Standard edition. Yeah, what was the difference? What's in the deluxe? Oh, recessed maps, game trays, player trays. Don't care. Fifth player? Yeah, maybe. But I could deal without not having a fifth player. Screen printed. A little mini expansion. That's fine. Mini expansion. Great. I don't care about any of this. I especially hate Game Trays design. I think Game Trays design are incredibly poor. I'm glad that Burnt Island has moved away from doing Game Trays design. These are also weird. I'll just put them in bags. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing the deluxe edition. So with that in mind, standard edition, $81. Delivery is $22. GST is $15. Yeah, that makes sense. If I see it in a store somewhere, I think I'll buy it. I think I'll wait until, or honestly, Yuval's at Origins right now. Maybe I'll just get him to, if Burnt Island's at Origins, maybe I'll just get them to go over and talk to them. I don't know. I'm getting a copy of Endeavor Deep Sea. Anyway, this is the pick for me. I don't care. Endeavor Deep Sea is great, and this Uncharted Waters expansion is everything that I love in expansion because it just gives you more of the same. I'm really happy for Endeavor Deep Sea as well because it was nominated for the Kenner Spiel. Has that been determined? I don't know when these come out. It's up against Neuland and Faraway. Oh, Endeavor should frickin' win. I hope it wins. When's it gonna? Oh, it will be announced July 13th. Cool, July 13th. That's coming up quick. I'm excited. I think Endeavor deserves to win. If Endeavor wins it, I'll late pledge a deluxe copy with everything. And if it doesn't, then I'll just get a standard copy. I don't think I want the deluxe though. I don't think I do. I think I specifically don't want the garbage game trays insert. But yeah, anyway. I'm all over the place for this because I'm getting excited. But this is exactly the type of expansion that I like. New ocean boards, new journals, new scenarios, new specialists, new dive tokens, and some mini expansions, sure. But basically they're taking everything that was good about the game and they're throwing it in there. They're not improving the solo. Apparently the solo mode isn't that fun. I have a few people who are in my Discord who play mostly solo games, and they got it because I was well, for many reasons, but also because, I was hyped and excited about it. And they ended up getting rid of it because the solo kind of fell flat. And I don't see anything in here changing that solo aspect, it's not going to make the original game solo better. However, the original game is a good game when you're playing with other people. And I'm really happy that it got nominated for the Kennerspiel as well, because I've talked so favorably about it. And it's one of those things when you play something in a prototype phase, then you don't like play it again for a while, especially after it comes out. It's been a while since you've played it. You sort of doubt yourself, or I doubt myself, and I get worried that like, okay, well, what if it was just the new shiny, and what if it doesn't have long-lasting appeal? And so I'm always very excited when, you know, other people feel a similar way that I do, and I don't let people down, and I don't let the excitement of playing something new sort of color my opinion of it, which is something that, you know, I think I really try to be aware of whenever I do reviews, and know that if I'm giving this a score, I'm giving it a score forever, and not just in the, 3 months, and then will I ever play it again? Of course, a lot of these games you don't play for a long time because there are so many good games that are out there and you can only play so much. But yeah, if you haven't played Endeavor, try to get a retail copy. That's what I would say. I think it's really fun. Each one of your turns is going to activate one of your specialists. At the end of every round, you're going to get a new specialist. If you upgrade your specialist track, you can get even better specialists, but you're always going to get somebody new. You're going to send your people down into a different ocean space, and then you will add discs from your track, upgrading yourself to different scoring conditions. There are also these little missions, these scenarios. Essentially, you're just racing for bonuses. That's all that is. So just a side bonus track. But yeah, if I were to get this game, which I was very much considering, it's $119, so it's 164 Canadian, and then plus shipping to Canada would have been an additional 20 US. $190 that I was gonna get, and even if I get it from their website and I have to pay shipping and taxes, it's still only 118. So I think I'm gonna wait till I can get a standard copy. But yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited to purchase this, and I'm excited to play it again. So if you're interested, that finishes Friday, June 27th at 10:30 p.m. Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna keep moving. Only a few left, and then I can go to sleep. We have Fight for Inheritance. Can you outlast them all? I don't know. Can you outlast them all? We're going to find out. Survive and evade assassination attempts to be the final heir of the Crazy King. I was going to say Crazy Kong in this new card game. I think we're out of good games. I think that was the last good game. We have a few more roll and writes. We have another tabletop gaming thing to talk about. We have something that has unicorns on it, which has never been good. And then we have a couple of these, which might, I don't know. Oh yeah, a Christian game, which generally aren't good unless it's done by a good publisher like Ezra and Nehemiah. There you go. That's a biblical game that's potentially good. All right, this isn't going to tell me anything. Gameplay. You start with 2 bodyguards. If you draw an assassination attempt, you discard 1 bodyguard. Whoop-a-dee-doo. Play as many cards as you want. Draw the top card from the action deck. Yeah, okay. That's enough. I think I'm going to start skipping these. I need to figure out a sound effect or a shorthand for these games that are just draw random cards from the top of the deck and nothing else. Because that's what this is. It's basically another one of those games where you play action cards from your hand, draw random cards, random events will happen. I don't know. They're a dime a dozen. Like, why should anybody ever purchase those games ever again? You've all played them. You've all played one. Everybody's played 1 or 2 throughout their lifetime. And they go, yeah, okay, that's fine. And barely fine. The Paybacks of the world, the Unos. And I just don't care enough. So we're going to move on to this one, which maybe we will enjoy. It's a print and play, a solo and 1 versus 1 print and play adventure based on the legend of Hattori Hanzo. Dice placement will never be the same. So let's see how it's going to shake up the dice placement world. That told me absolutely nothing. Okay, you're the young ninja Hanzo, still training in the secret village of Iga. Iga! The samurai have discovered your existence and have stolen your weapons. Uh-oh, fearing that one day you may rise to legend. They're like, wait a minute. Your name's what? Uh-oh. Everybody get in here. Say that again. I got this guy. What's your name? Hanzo. There's the scroll. There's a scroll in my village somewhere that says Hanzo will rise to be somebody of legend. Oh, should we team up with him? Nope. Take his weapons. Now you must infiltrate the samurai village, recover the 10 sacred weapons, reach the 11th house, the sacred place where the ninja enlightenment begins. It says download the rulebook for the full version and for the 1v1 mode. Cool. You choose a map to begin your journey. You place the samurai meeples. There are obstacles. You roll 4 dice. Pick 1 value as the event. All right. Then you place the remaining dice to gather resources and to defend the next round. Whenever you recover a weapon, weapon, you can remove 1 samurai from the map. At the end of your turn, add 2 samurai onto the gates or resource spots on the map. So there's a limited amount of time that you have left to place all these dice, because if you run out of room or there's no additional spots for samurai, you're knocked out. Sure, it's €4 for print and play, $7 Canadian, or you can be the Hanzo Supreme, which you get a couple more maps. Looks fine. Yeah, if you like print and play games, for sure, you can check it out. It finishes Sunday, June 29th at 7 a.m. Definitely seems like it could be an interesting little puzzle. Rolling dice, balancing the randomness that you got with whatever turns up. Okay, here's another roll and write, which is, let's see if it's anything. We've got rolling sheep. Roll the dice, shape your pasture, and gather a flock of sheep in this roll and write adventure full of charm and color. You gotta help the charming shepherdess Esmeralda round up the finest flock in the mountain village. Sounds easy? Absolutely not. Do you know what sort of wool Esmeralda receives on the daily? Do you understand how many suitors come to the shepherdess Esmeralda's way? Clearly she is a witch of some sort as well, not just because she bewitches their hearts, but because her name is just Esmeralda. That's just such a mystical name. Oh, cool. You're going to run around the pasture and then draw it somewhere inside here, and then you meet your scoring requirements. Okay, cool. Each sheep has its own scoring requirements. You draw them into the pasture, and you try to get the most points. That makes sense. €3. Decent enough for a print and play. That's Sunday, June 29th at 6:59 p.m. I just want to skip this, but we're going to still look at it. We've got California, Kansas, and Texas, 3 printable farm games. Manage your harvest in Kansas and grow your livestock in Texas, and harvest vegetables in California. Sure. Let's see what the video is going to sell us on, because it certainly ain't selling me. All right, I'm intrigued. I think these could be good. All right, that's enough. These are 3 games essentially that deal with the same conceit, that you'll have a handful of dice and you'll chuck it into this dice tray that has symbols on it, and wherever it lands, that will affect what you get when you take the dice. And I think I like that. It's kind of like a cube tower. It's some randomness of the throw. There's potential that you could try to mitigate the throw, but be a poor thrower. So I think that's interesting. California seems fine. You're just getting resources and you're fulfilling objectives. Easy peasy. Kansas seems like the best one, as you're planting crops and then you're also establishing a network of roads where you can deliver your crops to people. And then Texas seems a bit weird to me, mainly because you have to take doubles, I think, from the video. Just kind of felt like they were throwing everything at the wall. Feels like Canvas is the more streamlined of them. But if you want to get a print and play of one, yeah, I would recommend Kansas at the €5 level, or you can get them all for €12 if that interests you as well. Some combos, they don't really have rule books, but there you go. That finishes Monday, June 30th at 11:59 a.m. Moving along to this one, we have Tabletop Table, the foldable, portable, extendable gaming table. So this is by Tabletop Table, like Mike Gabler. And it's a new tabletop company. Always a bit of a risk pledging for a new tabletop company, because you never know when they're going to run away. Oh, but this is just something that you put on top of your table. That's why they're like, it's a tabletop table. Look, there have been numerous iterations of this before. I'm not quite sure why this one's doing so well. It's just a raised table that you can put on your table, which, yeah, the more I play, I could see the benefit of having a separate space that you could take on and off, sure. But for $520 Canadian, I'd rather just buy a different table, But if you're looking for something that sits on top of your table and takes up the exact same amount of space, it's good for RPG, it's good for like holding papers and stuff underneath as well. You can check that out. That's also finishing on Monday, June 30th at 4:59 p.m. We're going to see this, the letters of the word, assemble something that will last forever as ink becomes the sword, a strategic Christian Bible board game. Anything that puts itself forward as a Bible board game is usually focused too much on preaching and not on fun, which makes sense because, Jesus didn't like fun. He didn't turn water into wine and throw a party. Wait a minute. He did. Yeah, you got a bunch of chance cards because, yeah, they're like They're like, listen, if this was really strategic, then there'd only be one path that you could take, because that's obviously there's only one more efficient pathway. But here there are multiple pathways you can take as you go explore this open world. So, and then we got a bunch of random events cards. Ooh, the mana's coming down from heaven. Well, you know it's not coming down from the heaven. Game design. Yeah, there's nothing here. It's a big old sort of route. Not even a pick up and deliver. It's just walk around and have stuff happen to you. Will you survive? Will you get some of these blessing cards? For $48, you can try it out. At least it's cheaper than most real games, so I'll give them that. That finishes Tuesday, July 1st at 1 a.m. That's it. What else do we have? We've got this, Dare the Unknown. A journey through NASA's legacy in a strategic and competitive game where you take command of iconic spacecraft, face thrilling dilemma, and make tight, calculated decisions in what looks to be none of that and is just an abstract game. At least friggin' Legend of the Word showed the gameplay. Okay, this is a strategy game inspired by Talk, in which you talk. I think they mean tack? That can't be. It can't be a game called Talk. Talk strategy game. Oh no, Talk. Okay, great. Talk is a card-based board game similar to Ludo or Sorry. Okay, where players race their colored marbles around the board. So this is inspired by Sorry. Cards are used to move tokens forward on the board. Most move them forward. Others have special effects. In this weird space theme, you're gonna pick. Yeah, that makes sense. You're gonna pick something that moves you forward. Man, this is not loading for me. But that's okay. I think we have a pretty good grasp of it. When it lands on a special space, the required action is modified, something else is triggered. As you run around the board, that's what this is. You're just running around the board and you're trying to get them into this row. It's Sorry, but NASA themed. And I am sorry to say that this looks awful and no one should get it. I told you we were done after Endeavor. I told you we were done. Because the only last one we have here is Giddy Up Unicorn, where 17 people have raised 5,000 euro, which comes to an average of 294 euro, which is not anything anyone has ever spent on a weird card game that is clearly horrid, and we don't need to talk about it. And speaking of games that are horrid and we don't need to talk about, well, I'm still going to talk about this one too. This is S55 Wings Over the Atlantic, created by Max Panucci, and unfortunately, I'm sorry to tell Max Panucci, but my lovely patrons, one of my lovely patrons said, can you cover this campaign in one of your future vids and let folks know to watch out for their scam? Their previous product was the single worst thing I've ever had delivered from Kickstarter. Check the comments on their previous campaign to see. If we look to their previous campaign, Max Panucci made this sort of airships North Pole. And this is by, like, anybody who's in my Discord, they're chronic Kickstarter backers, okay? Because those are the only people who end up supporting the channel. Still waiting for mine in Canada. That was 2 years ago. Asking for refund. Please, could you answer my emails? Have not received this to date. Notice some discrepancies. Yeah, but anything where people say it's a single worst campaign they've ever experienced, well, that makes me take note, and I wanted to call it out, even though it's not going to fund. So it won't fund, it won't hit its goal. These people will get their money refunded, but even still, worthwhile talking about. So that's it. That is it for the week. Now every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. Pick for me being the thing I think is the most interesting mechanically to me personally, and the pick for you being the thing that I think if you got, you would regret it the least. First of all, we're going to recap what we covered through a little crowdfunding grunt down. We made it. I bit my lip, you know? I bit my lip, and it's just been so hard to speak and talk, and I've just been trying to put orange juice on it to like burn it shut. What are your remedies for when you have like a big canker sore because you bit your lip, or a gaping open wound? Got any remedies? I don't know. Let's go. You know what? Let's look at some other gaping open wounds, starting with this one. Meh, blech, meh, no. Personal growth, meh, no, meh, nah, nah, whatever, no, yeah, 100%, no, sure, meh, no, and no. Was there a pick for you in there? That's the question. I don't think there was. I mean, the pick for me, we already covered it, is Endeavor. I almost bought a copy while we were talking. So that obviously should be the pick for me. The pick for you, it's not Agricola. It really isn't. The pick for you is play Agricola on Board Game Arena and then get a used copy that somebody's gotten rid of and realize that you're fine. It's Agricola. it's okay. That's a pick for you. Or maybe Darkleaf Gambit. I think this seems asymmetric and fun. If you like chess, sure, maybe something to consider. It's very expensive though, so I can't really recommend it. No official pick for you. Yeah, just a pick for me. Just a pick for me, Endeavor Deep Sea. No official pick for you. That's just how it do. That's it. That's it for the week. Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate you being here. I do. You're the reason why I continue to do these things. So thank you for tuning in, showing up, hitting the like and subscribe, all the wonderful stuff you do, because you are all wonderful, wonderful people. Tell me something funny in the description below. You know, what's a funny thing that happened to you? Tell me a very specific story about like a coworker that I don't know, but tell it to me as if I know that coworker. That's what I want. And sound off if you've been here for over 3,000 campaigns. That's a mind-blowing number and kind of cool. Kind of cool that we've gone through it all. Time flies, but we're still here, so that's also something worth celebrating. My name is Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, but I do have a big little bump on my lip. Oh yeah, it looked really bad there. No, I'm just squeezing it. Is it bleeding? It's sore. I have a boo-boo, okay? I'll catch you guys later.